Flesh tones, meet the flesh tones. They're the modern nudist family.
From
Somewhere
the
you wouldn't expect.
town of Bed Springs.
Yeah.
Oh, Bed Springs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, bet yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dane Holland, and I want to fly like an eagle.
I am Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and I'm not okay.
Is that a call for help? Or
I'm not okay.
okay, thank you.
I'm Marcus Whitaker, all-time wiffle ball home run champion with over 7,000 wiffle ball home runs.
These are documented too. I've
I am
seen
Electric Man.
the books.
I'm Austin Tiny Zant, and I don't have anything funny to say after my introduction today.
Yeah, I wasn't being funny. I was being serious.
No, he's being serious. These are real numbers.
Yeah, I believe you.
Over 7,000. I lost count
At least
when I
it's
was
not
like
that
12.
pickleball, whatever that is.
Pickleball.
We don't play that here.
I don't even know what it is.
Pickleball?
Yeah, it just has some paddles that you spank your in with. I don't know.
What?
Oh.
I mean, they're good paddling paddles. That's
What are we
all I'm
talking
saying.
about?
I don't know. I think he got confused.
Pickle paddle?
I think he just thought that ping pong was too boring, and then they improvised.
We all know about that life.
Yeah.
Oh. We are Nerded Through the Grapevine. We're four best friends that gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And Marcus, it's a sad start.
It is. You know, we've talked about sports just very slightly on the podcast, you know, because wouldn't necessarily always consider it nerd culture. But we have discussed sports here and there. I'm not the biggest sports guy either. You know, I'm like a one-sport guy, baseball. And I'm a one-team guy, the Braves. Mm-hmm. And so the news of Hank Aaron's passing kind of struck me weird today because, you know, we have those moments with our fictional heroes and things like that, you know, they imprint us so deeply from a very young age. And today when I walked into work and I saw that on the TV, it was just all over ESPN. Like I hadn't read anything, you know, I just walked into work and, you know, expected to be nice and pleasant to people. And then I see that, and I was in a raw mood. It definitely changed my day. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it was just, I thought it was an interesting, like, parallel to, like, some of the things we've talked about. I just couldn't not talk about it today.
Well, and the list
Because it's like a real-life hero,
Yeah.
not just the ones we read about in comics.
and the list of people that you've never met that they're passing would, like, I mean, yeah, it's sad, but to, like, affect your mood for the rest of the day and to actually change something in you whenever you find it, like, that list is pretty small, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, because I can't think of, you know, of many that have impacted my life so much.
And we just did kind of live through the year that was kind of started off with, you know, Kobe Bryant accident. And so it's like, people know what that's like. I mean, a lot of people know what that's like now. I mean, it was even weirder for him because he was young, you know, Hank was older. But yeah, so I mean, I guess it's just this one's a little closer to my heart, you know, because I didn't know any of these people. It's still horrible. Yeah. It's just that, you know, some of them just, they stick with you. And it kind of even surprised me today, you know, because I'm not always in baseball mode. I'm more of a nerd for, you know, fiction and comics and games and things like that. But then that one just really slapped me across the face today. And part of my love of baseball is like that lore aspect, kind of like an epic fantasy. It's like, yeah, well, that kid's good, but you've never seen the Babe. You know, you never saw Griffey in his prime. So there's that like lore and like these heroic figures that emerge as these mythical figures. And for me, that doesn't get any bigger than Hank Aaron. Yeah. I've been to Turner Field so many times. I've been to all the stadiums in Atlanta. There's always a massive statue of Hank Aaron there. And you just look at it and like, oh my God, you know? So yeah, that's really my topic. But I would be curious to hear y'all's take on like Hank Aaron, like not maybe knowing as much about him, you know, because I've like I said, I've been to over 60 Braves games. I've read all of it.
He's a big hitter. I love big hitters. I got into the Braves when Dane was watching them. Wait, he does that every season. Mm-hmm. The big hitters were always things that I kept up with. And 755. Mm-hmm. 755 career home runs. Absolutely balling.
Yeah. Second all time, but in most like baseball purists' heart, Hank Aaron's the home run king. Yeah. You know, I always felt like Barry Bonds cheated his way to the record.
Because he did.
That's my opinion. You know, people have different opinions. But yeah, that he's like the villain in the story for sure. I'm not a Barry Bonds fan. I was pretty repulsed when he ended up passing Aaron, who I see him as like a literal true hero.
How'd you feel about McGuire?
Well, at the time I was young and nobody, you know, it wasn't the story. And so I actually went to a Braves game when McGuire was in town that year. So, he didn't go deep, but I saw him, you know, in his huge Greek god form.
So Spider-Man played baseball?
That's Toby.
Yeah.
Toby Maguire.
Oh, okay. I don't sports ball. I don't know.
He'd be a hell of a baseball player, though.
Yeah,
but
it's his uncle Mark.
Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry, guys.
But in the sense of like lore and folklore and things, I mean, to me, you're hard pressed to find a actual true American hero more than Hank Aaron. Seriously, I mean, yes, it's baseball, but at that time, baseball was like way bigger than the NFL. You know, I mean, it was basically today's NFL. Back then, there was less, you know, stuff going on. There was not as much TV streaming. You know, there's none of that. It's baseball, man. Like that's why they call it America's pastime. It was huge, and you know, when Aaron met with, you know, the civil rights leaders at the time, because you know, here he is, a man of color in the Deep South, you know, playing in a time where, I mean, he grew up in segregation, you know, like in Alabama, like the KKK would just like. He's, you know, said he would grow up and his mom would just say, "Go hide under the table." You know,
Jeez.
Yeah. So I mean, he's just that rags to riches, and then when he gets to the big leagues and like he's making a name for himself, you know, he meets with these civil rights leaders, and he's just like, "Man, you know, like I kind of feel bad that I haven't been outspoken, but it's because to get where I've gotten, you kind of can't be, or you're seen as a troublemaker."
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that. But anyway, when they told him, like, he was basically to a point where he's, like, asking what he can do to help the situation, the civil rights movement, you know, all this social stuff going on.
Yeah.
And he was told, just keep hitting the ball. You know, just keep doing what you do.
Because
that's its own form of activism. Like, he's doing what
it's
you're
heroic.
doing your job.
It's heroic. Like you said, he's a hero.
Absolutely.
Like, and no matter...
He got up to, like, 3,000 hate letters a day during his chase of Babe Ruth's home run record. A day, and he saved them all.
That's awesome.
Apparently, yeah. I'm not the most knowledgeable person about Hank Aaron.
Right.
That was a record that held out for freaking how many years? 30-something years almost from Babe Ruth to Hank Aaron's time?
More than that. What was Hank? Was Ruth quit in the 30s or so?
I think
Aaron wasn't even born till the 40s.
Would it be possible that Babe's record was set in like the 20s?
It's possible, yeah.
I think like 20, maybe like
his
29.
his all-time record was set just whenever he retired.
Yeah,
with 715 home runs.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but he did have the single season, and see that's the thing about Hank Aaron. He never hit above 50 home runs in a season.
No, it's consistency.
Exactly. I actually had a number. I was scrolling through Twitter and seeing everybody, you know, react on Twitter, and I found a couple of these pictures because I also, even in the realm of baseball where he is like God. He's still, I think, undervalued, or what do they call it?
Underappreciated?
Was a more sportsy term for it.
Underestimated?
All those words are right, but they're not the word I'm looking for.
They're not the one. They're not the right one.
Let me just read this off. In the sense of like everyone who's ever put on a baseball uniform and played professionally in the Major League Baseball, Hank Aaron has 2,297 RBIs first. Nobody's ever had more RBIs than him.
What is an RBI?
A run batted in. So when a runner's on base and he hits the ball and they get to score because of it, that's a run batted in.
Okay.
He scored a run for his team.
It's a lot of times very strategic as well as to where they'll place the ball.
1,477 extra base hits, meaning when you hit the ball, you get more than just first base. You either get second or third or all of them. First all time, extra base hits. 6,800 total bases, first of all time. He had 25 All-Star selections in his career, first all time. Nobody's been selected to the All-Star game more than Hank Aaron. 755 home runs, second. Asterisk. Asterisk. Because Barry Bonds stole it from him. Because I'm sorry, if you juice that hard and hit more home runs after you're 40, I'm sorry. I just don't think that's normal.
And for those of our nerd listeners that aren't into the sports world nerdism, that was a huge, when he mentions juicing, that's like steroids, like performance-enhancing drugs, like PEDs is what they call them. Mm-hmm. And then Austin earlier mentioned McGuire, like Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Jose Canseco. Like
that was a big one, and that was Babe Ruth's, or actually Roger Maris, who broke Babe Ruth's single season home run record. So who had hit the most home runs in a single season?
The only problem that I have with that kind of view of stuff is, I just feel like it's just increased technology and increased demand. So you've got the technology and a drug that can enhance these people to the point to where they're superhuman when we're, demanding superhuman tasks of them.
Absolutely.
I feel like the fact that someone with natural athletic talent that is just the swing, it's just, that's incredible.
And just the will to get out there in a sport like baseball.
Yeah.
It's a ritual that you perform every single day of your life.
And had
it's the closest thing to being a Jedi, in the real world that you can possibly be.
Eat, sleep, breathe,
and just the fine tuning and the meditations, that you'd have to take on your swing and things of that nature. The control over your body. Let me just finish these stats real quick. 3,771 hits, third all time. If you take away all of his 700 home runs. 755 home runs. He still has 3,000 hits.
Jeez.
2,174 runs scored. So he touched home plate 2,174 times. Tied for fourth all time.
Damn.
All time. Yeah, so that's all really. I mean, just even in his own sphere, he's underrated. That's the word I was looking for.
There we go. You did it.
Underrated.
Mm-hmm. And to do it in the face of such diversity
and hatred,
adversity.
In the face of hatred,
well,
like he had stadiums that he went to, which I'm sure while he was at that was Fulton County Stadium at the time.
Yep.
The home crowd is going to be rooting him on, even though off the field, like 75% of those people wouldn't want to be even.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing about him just speaking out about his opinion of it. Took a lot of bravery at the time.
Yeah.
And I think that is the big thing. Like you said, they'll root for him, but then it's like, oh, well, he better just keep his mouth shut, know. But, I mean, when he came up, he actually started out in the Negro Leagues. Mm-hmm. And so when he actually got to come to the major leagues, there was only a couple. There wasn't very many players of color on the field. I mean, Jackie Robinson won the first, and there was maybe a few more.
Roberto Clemente
he was not even allowed to dress in the same locker rooms as his teammates. He was not even allowed to use the same facilities that his teammates could use. And the first time he actually gets called to get put in the game, I can't say this word, but hey, some guy gets hurt, and he says, hey, not his name, get out in right field. His first game as a professional player. That's what his coach said to him. Hits 2 home runs that game. Legend.
Well, I mean, the fact that he was as successful as he was, and that he hit 2 home runs in the first game after being called a horrible name, that's like the best kind of middle finger. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he hit him back with class.
Absolutely.
Well, and that was his entire existence.
And he was never bitter about it. Yeah. That's what a lot of the the sports stars today have been saying about him. It was like, if anybody had a reason to be bitter about it all, it was him, but he wasn't.
But class, that's like
absolute
him,
class.
Yeah, 100%. The example of class.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to that. And that's what you want from heroes, too. I mean, you don't... there are plenty of heroes that we all have that have some like shady, like kind of weird.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, weird shadows. But like when it comes to Hank, like you can't. I can't think of anything. But then, we didn't grow up getting to watch him play either.
No.
Which makes him even more mythical to us too,
right?
Because we didn't get to lay eyes on him playing. Mm-hmm. We've seen footage.
All I know is the legend of him.
The legend, exactly.
And he was actually still with us until recently. But it's like, man, I don't know. And that's a big draw for me for baseball. It's like that lore, and a lot of it kind of has historical context too, like Jackie Robinson, breaking the color barrier into the major leagues, during the civil rights movement. These things were very influential at the time. And, like I said, just true American folk hero.
Yeah.
For sure.
I got to see Hank at a game, not communicate with him or anything, but he was on the field. But what happened was, it was opening day. It was Jason Hayward's first ever game with the team.
He actually just tweeted about that today.
Did he really?
Yeah, Jason Hayward did.
And me and my brother, my stepbrother, we both went to the game, and we were sitting, I'll never forget it, down left field line, upper deck, about 4 rows back. And they had announced over the PA that at the beginning there would be a special guest person throwing out the first pitch, and nobody knew who it was. And then so right before it was announced, the crowd kind of got a little quieter, which is hard to do, whenever you've got a stadium completely filled with people. And all of a sudden, out of the dugout walks Hank Aaron. And the crowd, I've never heard a crowd do that before. Lose it. Every person in the whole place. And I had I had a really nice DSLR camera at the time with a big zoom lens. And at the time I was like, I want to be a sports photographer, And then the more I looked into it, I was like, no, there's way too much competition for that. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, so I had my zoom lens. I was taking pictures all over the field at certain players while they're warming up. And I did not snap a picture of him until he was walking off the field, because I was frozen in this moment of awe. The entire time he's up there waving at everybody, throwing the pitch, and then walking off, that's whenever I was like, oh, I've got to get a picture of this. It was unreal to be that far away from a human being and be frozen, not be able to move.
Yeah, right. I guess there would be some people that wouldn't really understand that. I mean, people who not only are not in sports, but in nerd terms, it's literally you just got Excalibur out of the stone. You're that dude.
This is dating
He broke
back,
the home run record.
This is dating back to mythical proportions.
Absolutely.
Back to the ancient Greeks, back to the times of the gladiators.
Oh, for sure.
Those that had such status among their names that just their mere presence invoked that reaction.
From hardened veterans as well.
Yes.
People can take batting practice with Mark McGwire and King Griffey Jr., but then Hank Aaron walks in the room and everybody's stunned.
Yes.
Wow.
I'd be stunned with Griffey, though. That's
of course. I'd be stunned with just the coach. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, it's the coach.
That's my favorite. But yeah, so the passing, very, very sad. But
I didn't want to start it on too dark of a note, but I just thought I had to mention it on this podcast.
But there's so much epic in the life that he had.
Yeah, it was just too epic. It's literally, people like him are what these mythical tales that we love so much are based on.
Oh yeah.
People like that existed, and it inspired stories and inspired people to be creative.
It's incredible.
Creative, dark, almost like guys that wear eyeliner.
I must be emo.
Oh, really? My topic is called Emo Isn't Dead.
It's actually not.
Is it not?
Maybe the fashion.
I think because it's dead to me, I just have this immediate feeling of no one listens to that anymore.
Not true.
The most hilarious internet thing that has happened to me here recently, that has struck a chord deep within my soul to actually get me to actually look up somebody and watch all of their content over this thing that they've made. This guy's name is Matt Cutshall. He's 35 years old. He's a content creator for Instagram, Vine, TikTok, YouTube. He was a boy band member in the early 2000s.
Nice.
His band was called In Boys. they had their first album actually get published in 2010, and then their second album was published in 2012, with a lot of the internet stars of that time being featured on it. People of certain like internet status, like Jeffree Star, BC Bean, Jay Trill, Cassidy Pope, which my dad lied about me beating in The Voice auditions. No, scratch that. She beat me in The Voice auditions.
That didn't happen.
It really didn't happen.
It was a completely fabricated story that he told in front of a crowd of people.
Yeah. yes. Like told them.
He got so angry.
I'm a man to elongate the truth for the sake of a story, not fabricate. Don't you dare.
I agree 100%.
But anyway, I was inspired by Marcus for this discussion because I listened to him play music here recently. And the man is talented, really talented. But I Am Electric Man, he got some emo to him. And
there's definitely some.
And I positively, absolutely love it.
He's up there tickling the old broom. How's the saying go? Tickle the old broom bristles. Up there on the stage, tickling broom bristles with some emotion behind it, huh? Tickling the broom bristles.
Just like my mustache on this microphone.
Tickling the bristles. That's what they call it.
Tickling the ivories?
No, tickling the bristles. It's not a piano, Marcus. Don't be dumb. It's picking the bristles.
Heard.
Hashtag emo's not dead is a movement that he has created to kind of reach out to those 25 to 40-year-olds that are within this age range, to where this music used to kind of be everywhere and everything that was like revolving around the emo status. And it could be as far off as saying like screamo and people that are, just extra gritty, or it's something that's just acoustic and more, laid back, but just still had that heartfelt feeling to it. A lot of nasal, a lot of times too. Not going to lie about that one.
I think that's what's so off-putting to me about it now. Like back in middle school, high school, all about it. But now
just in case people don't know what emo is, it is of course short for emotional.
Which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
All music is emotional,
but
except country.
But bands that I started jotting down a list today of, like, I was trying to remember like all the bands that I can remember from the time, and I just got this far. So All American Rejects, Newfound Glory, All Time Low, Amber Lynn, Black Veil Brides, Bring Me the Horizon, Coheed and Cambria, Dashboard Confessional, Fall Out Boy, Family Force 5, Flyleaf, Hello Goodbye, Yellow Card, just to name a few.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, just to name a very
Flyleaf
few.
was considered emo?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You mean I've gone this long, proud that I've never listened to emo music, just to find out that one of my favorite bands is emo?
I can feel you all around me.
You've done it. Now, welcome to the crew.
I don't know how to feel about myself
I mean,
anymore.
I can see it, though. I mean, I've only probably heard that one hit by them. So.
If you ever get a free time to check out a YouTube content, you need to check out Felt Emo Might Delete. It's fantastic, and it's stuff that I've done in real life, but just only in my head.
Oh.
Say you say something, and with my ADHD brain, I start singing song lyrics, because that's that. Boom.
You do it all the time.
All the time. This is a video based off of. It's a series of them based off this same exact thing, but it's all desperate situations that he turns into emo classics. Like his girlfriend, he's sitting in the living room. He's looking at a little screenshot of his pugs with little hearts around him up on his TV, and he's like just so happy, and it's just him the way he is. Then he hears a shatter in the kitchen. He's like, "Everything okay?" She's like, "Yeah, babe, I just broke your mug." And he goes, "What mug?"
And then
she said, "Oh, it's your pug mug." And his heart breaks. He goes and falls on his knees to the ground, and he picks up the pieces of the pug mug, and he's just like looking down at it. And she's like, I'll get you a new pug mug. It's okay." And he looks up at her again, and his eyes have eyeliner on him. And this is like one of the later videos in it. And she's like, "No, don't do this again." And then he said, she like another little camera pan happens, and then he looks up at her again, and his hair is just like long blonde and highlighted, just all down everywhere. Broken this fragile thing now, and I can't. He gets through the whole, I can't pick up the pieces, and she's like, I get it. It's a broken mug. You can't pick up the pieces. And he goes through the whole thing, but this has become such a thing that like these artists are getting involved with it, and that's why I mentioned that one, because let me find his name in here because I had to look him up. Ryan Keane.
I thought you were going to say Scott Stapp.
No, Ryan Keane from Yellow Card actually made a guest appearance in this video shortly after it because he was like shut down by his girlfriend in this emo situation because she had just had enough. And then all of a sudden Ryan Keane just like is in their house and she's like, Ryan Keane, why are you in my house? He's like, is somebody experiencing emo? And he just like floats over to him in this like Jesus style, like holding out of hands, like just she's like, why are you floating? He's just singing his song. Oh man, you just need to watch him. They've got My Chemical Romance has one on there that is, of course, they're not anywhere in it because they weren't anything for a while, but it's great. I mean, it just that, and Chris Carrabba from my favorite emo band, Dashboard Confessional, made a cameo in one of their videos for an actual emo band he has now started up called, oh my gosh, I should have wrote it down. I thought I would remember it. I will when I'm not thinking about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, something here. There's a hero in it.
There probably is.
Our Broken Hero.
There it is.
That's Chris Carrabba from Dashboard is in that band?
No, the guy that makes this YouTube content has actually made this band, and they wrote a song called A Letter to Ashley. And it's just like a breakup letter to all the girls that did you wrong. And just, it's not a bad song. But in the video, his girlfriend is in this video, and she's like watching the music video on her phone, and Chris Carrabba walks in the door like he's the boyfriend. He's like, what's going on, babe? What is that? And she's like, oh, it's just this band I've been listening to. They're kind of emo. He's like, huh, what's their name? She's like, Our Broken Hero. And his eyes just like get real big. He's like, taps his chest with his fist. He's like, Our Broken Hero. All right. Because emo's not dead.
I thought it was dead.
Dude,
I thought I killed it.
It's not. Dude, Mars Volta. That's
not emo.
That has got some emo to it.
No.
There is some. There is emo in Mars Volta.
I'm not familiar. I've heard of them.
If
never heard
Coheed
them
and Cambria can be considered emo, Mars Volta is right along there with them.
What is the definition? I know. I guess music genres. It's kind of hard to find actual definitions because
yeah,
like
is.
the listeners kind of, I don't know.
But
who
if you
decides?
hear it,
Who
you can definitely describe it. So
because it's been pointed out to you before, like not that genre, like the name of a genre.
Yeah,
like that's what I'm just trying to figure out. Like,
well, it's very punk infused,
right?
Poppier music tends to be a high tenor vocal.
Yes,
whiny vocal. But really catchy, like kind of melodies and songs about love and break, kind of angsty, teeny kind of.
Taylor Swift.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but just darker, a little darker.
Yeah. I mean, come on,
and a little bit more, of the, I maybe cut myself kind of thing.
Avril Lavigne.
Yes, Avril Lavigne. Except she's just so much of a too mainstream. The emo people got to be a little less.
Why
mainstream.
do I always got to be wrong with you, Marcus?
You're not wrong.
I'm trying to relate.
I'm
and
just
you tell me that
refining
I'm
the
wrong.
ideas. That's all.
Avril Lavigne was made in a test tube inside of a production company's
She was,
lab.
man.
They said, we just need this girl that's just enough, punk rock and
To get all the skater kids watching MTV.
and just enough pop to make sure that they're cool. And I don't know. But
yeah.
Hawthorne Heights, because you got to talking about that darker stuff, isn't it? And so cup my wrist and black my eyes. They made an appearance on his last video, and they like tapped him on the shoulder. And they weren't in like an emo getup. They were just how they look now, and they're just like, we get it, we understand.
So this YouTuber is like leading the charge and letting the masses know like
that emo's not dead.
That emo's not dead. And it's reaching all these like famous emo, like people that love emo music, at least famous bands. That's it. That's impressive.
Let me see. And I made a list of
Slipknot.
He's had
finger in his
he's had
eyes.
four appearances on his actual channel of these different artists. You had, of course, Ryan Keaton from Yellow Card. You had Chris Carrabba from Dashboard Confessional, and you had Tom Higgerson from the Plain White Tees was also there. He actually just randomly showed up for just a few seconds in a video because his girlfriend was convinced he was actually singing and playing "Hey There Delilah," sounding really good, and then the camera pans slightly left and like shows him over there like ghosting and playing guitar and actually singing it. Then it pans back to him. It's great.
Was he famous before doing these emo videos, or are these how he got famous?
No, he had some internet following and fame before that. I mean, it's not like he's actually that. I had to look him up a little bit extra, and I found out his net worth is like $700,000. So it's not like he's a superstar.
Pocket change, baby. We make more than
That's
that.
a great living.
Our podcast
Shoot.
makes more than that.
But and I mean, in what a person would think like a huge celebrity or something would be. But this guy's movement is actually doing something. And I don't know if he actually meant it to be a movement or a joke, but I think a joke has became a movement because now emo's not dead is. I mean, it's branding, and it's kind of freaking cool because I feel that way because I can still hear all of those old songs, and I can still remember the way it used to feel whenever I was.
Sure.
And I'm just like,
well, the thing is like
even Blink-182 had some emo aspects to them in their later albums. Miss you.
Blue Man Group.
You're getting there, bud. You're working your way all the way
just
there.
trying to figure this one out.
It's like if the Blue Man Group could only use their face to make their boingy
Hey,
sounds.
their eyes had so much sorrow and emotion in them.
That's because the rest of them actually
Dude, they're
look
amazing.
sad and blue.
the Blue Man Group is awesome.
They're scary.
They're so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Scare
I've never
the
seen
heck
him
out of me.
live. I always wanted to see
Of
him live.
course, that's exactly how you. I've never either, but
What were you saying?
yeah, I was gonna say that it's not dead. I think a lot of us that went through that phase collectively, went through that emo phase, have grown up and realized, yeah, it was kind of stupid. It's kind of angsty and teeny, but it's like it's still fun to remember some of those times. But those whiny, nasally, high male tenor vocals have not gone away.
No,
and they have crept into modern metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. I don't know why. It should be a separate. Emo should be over here, and maybe some screamo, whatever. Let them have a little bit. But then, I just don't think that kind of vocal belongs in like metal.
I think
Are you
that
talking about 5 Flavor Fruit Punch?
that's Five Finger
no,
Death
I wouldn't
Punch.
say that.
Close
I wouldn't.
enough.
That's
Close
not a
enough.
high pitched voice at all.
Yeah, I don't like that band. But
of high pitch.
I wouldn't call it
He
emo.
is pretty high pitched.
5 Flavor Fruit Punch.
Yeah.
That makes me very happy.
So I think that's what people like, those catchy, soaring kind of melodies.
If I could find you now, things would get better.
And so they just take them, right. And so they take a melody like that and just put it over a way heavier, like, they put it over something heavy and then just sing that. And then it's like that you can sell that same kind of level to people who used to listen to emo, but now they're too hard for emo.
Who's this? Is there a guy named Kellen or something like that, or Quellen or something like that? I can't remember. He's got a really high pitched, like super feminine voice to the point that it's actually kind of impressive.
Chiodos?
Bless you.
Is that it?
Like the Chester the Cheetos guy.
Chiodos.
I hear no difference.
yeah, that's the exact same thing.
Chiodos, I think.
That's how you spell
There was
Cheetos.
they were kind of like an emo screamo kind of band, and he had like a super high pitched voice. I thought,
And there's like that same kind of line with like 80s metal. Like they kept creeping, like get up higher and higher and higher and higher to the point that Steelheart became a thing, and that's when it got hokey. And if you've never heard Steelheart before, I will introduce you to them later.
okay.
But yeah, I liked the high pitched voices. I liked it because that's the way my voice naturally is too. When I sing, it's higher range. I don't have a very deep voice. That's fine. But I connect this music. This is what was like in my heyday of development and early
Body
adulthood.
exploration.
No, that was much earlier.
I can't I don't know. The nostalgia's not enough for me to want to listen to it anymore.
Not like new stuff, but just those songs.
No, I mean,
you
even
liked
the
in high
old
school.
ones. I mean, even a lot of those songs, like I listen to them now, and I get a little bit of that moment of, oh yeah, back then.
Yeah.
And then it creeps up for me. It's like, oh, that wasn't a
Yeah,
fun
well,
time at all. Like, there was a reason I was liking this stuff, is because I didn't know how to handle these weird emotions I was feeling.
It
like growing up.
comes back to you when you're in your worst moods. It honestly does for me.
It puts me in a worse mood.
That's the point. You're supposed to wallow in it.
Oh, I thought you. Okay, never mind.
If life gives you poop, you wallow in it.
You can't do
That's
that.
that's their
You can't do
grapevine.
That's the emo philosophy.
Is that the
man.
emo? Okay.
That's the emo
That's the
grapevine.
emo,
Heard it
okay.
through the turd pipe. But yeah, that's my topic. I just thought it was really cool. I mean, everybody, you should go look up. Felt emo might delete. I'm not actually sponsored to say that for anybody. I just really think you would enjoy it if you have that same mind frame about that genre of music. Period.
It can be fun. It can be funny. It can be disastrous and stupid.
All at the same time, kind of like this show.
Dude.
We're emo, bro.
Welcome to the grapevine.
That was more Rat Pack, I think.
No, I was the frog.
Well, now we're got singing frogs. I don't even really know what you're talking about.
WB frog, man.
Okay, well, the frogs, they tie into Firefly.
Ooh, Firefly?
Firefly.
You're going to talk about Firefly?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
One of my favorite shows.
Yes.
And Serenity was a great movie. And every now and then I love watching the funeral scene just because you've never seen. Oh, I'll
Okay.
bring you
But
the
I've
box
heard
set.
really good things about
It's
it.
it's
I got the box
fantastic.
set. I'll let you borrow it.
Is
It's
this
great.
is this going to be spoiler filled?
I mean, that's fine. You don't have to, like,
It's okay.
Not
shield
really.
me from it.
Okay.
But the funeral scene, it ties into my emotions. It gives me all the feels because it has a sense of like belonging and family, even though some horrible things was going on around that. But anyway, I was just trying to segue.
Yeah.
And your time's up
Nailed
for your
it.
whole topic.
You nailed it.
You took it up with the segue.
Oh man! But anyway, the show takes place in the year 2517. The only two superpowers left are the U.S. and China. They formed what's called the Alliance, and it takes place after another civil war. It's the Alliance versus the Browncoats. And the show was aired on September 20th, 2002. That's when the first episode was aired. It was canceled after 11 of 14 of their episodes aired. And it got an Emmy for Outstanding Visual Effects for a series. So, really good. What caused them to get canceled was the show didn't make sense because they aired it out of order. So as you're watching it, you're like, I don't even know what's happening right now. They was doing this, and now they're doing this, and what's going on with my life? Yeah, so completely flubbed the release.
How
Yeah,
does
that ruined.
how does that happen?
I don't know
And
how it
how
happens.
has it never gotten retribution besides just fan outcry after fan outcry?
Well, I thought that was like had a really big, like, kind of, it's like a cult kind of following.
It does have a
Yeah,
cult
absolutely,
following.
yeah.
Because it never got a fighting chance.
Yeah, what I thought was really kind of cool was when it got canceled, a lot of the fans were so outraged about it that they sent cases of peanuts to the company that was producing the show because they're like, you're nuts for canceling this. And I'm like,
Got
that's
'em.
pretty awesome. Yeah. And it took years for them to wrap up the story with Serenity. And it wrapped up a lot of it, but it didn't wrap up everything.
Is that good or bad?
Well, they wrapped it up later in some comic books and things that were released after the fact, because one of my personal favorite characters in the show is Book.
What's his name?
Book. He's a minister type character. He's kind of portrayed as a devout Christian, but they don't really say that. He wears, like the priest collar and a gray Catholic style shirt, and the pants and all that. And he's a fantastic character. Various times he goes on missions with them a couple of times, and at one point they're trying to rescue somebody, and he grabs a gun, and they're like, well, They call him Shepherd a lot because he's a shepherd. That's his title. He's like, well, Shepherd, maybe you want to try this little gun, not this big one. He's like, no, I got it. He's like, ready to go, And Jane, he's the tough guy, likes to beat up everybody. He's the mercenary of the group. And he's like, well, doesn't your book say that you're not supposed to kill anybody? And he goes, yeah, but the Lord is decidedly fuzzy on kneecaps. And he's just sitting there just pinging them right in the knees, just, you're like, what's going on? And he's like, he knows all these tactics, and he's got some clout with the Alliance because the Alliance is everywhere. So there's all this mystery surrounding Book, and they never show it in the show or the movie, but they did.
That could be kind of cool, though, right?
But they released it in a comic book later. That now that I know this, I need to find it.
So it's book in a book instead of book on a screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It kind of tanked a lot of my topics since I don't want to spoil it for you.
Well, you've done that to me before.
I refuse. I refuse to spoil,
but
the wonder that is Firefly.
Okay, well, surely you can do it without it. I mean, you could walk on eggshells. I don't know any of these characters really.
The captain, his name is Malcolm. He's laid back in some ways, but he operates in the gray, but he's always trying to do the right thing.
Who is played by Nathan Fillion. Yes. Which is a really funny guy. Like his humor in the show.
Oh yeah,
it's
fantastic.
It has a perfect blend to me of like sci-fi and comedy, like mixed in with it. But it's not like
it's not
really
like
a
cheesy.
laugh track comedy. No, and any cheese in it is from just like the classic like. I guess I don't know if it would be a trope or not, but the cheesiness that's in like sci-fi stuff sometimes, like Star Wars style funny stuff. But I don't know. It didn't get enough of a life to really become much because it was really. It was that one season.
Yeah,
like I said, it didn't.
The one season and the one movie, and that was it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we did get the movie to wrap up a lot of things because there's so much that they were slow rolling throughout the season that it kept you invested in the characters and wanted you to come back for more. Because Simon, who is the doctor on the show, he books passage with a package. And you come to find out later that the package is his sister. And she's got some serious mental issues. And you're trying to... And it's slow rolling what happened to her. And you're like, what's going on with her? I don't understand. There's got to be so much more to this. And you finally find out in Serenity what's going on. You don't have to watch the show to watch the movie, but you'll appreciate the movie more if you do.
Yeah, I would definitely advise it just because.
Absolutely.
And how long was the show's run?
It's only 14 episodes in the season, and they're like 30.
And so that movie ended up being At some point, they got canceled and stopped filming.
Right. Like they had the whole first season was filmed. And they canceled it mid-airing.
And so they just had an idea, like, let's just do this movie to, like, end it.
Yeah. Well, the movie came years later, really it was spurred on due to the massive outcry of fans.
Right.
So
that's what I'd known about it.
Yeah.
I think.
So all the fans going, why did you cancel this? It was so good. They actually went, well, let's give them a movie so they shut up and so we can put this to bed.
See, that seems more like an anime trope to me because you get a one season, one-off season. Then maybe later on, depending on how many people are, griping about it, you might get a movie. You don't expect that from a sci-fi show, and that is why I have never actually watched it because I've watched bits and pieces of it, and I haven't watched it because there's no continuation. There's no point to get invested in characters that are only one season long.
It's still just join the anger, though. We've got this whole group of us.
About that.
There's this whole large crowd that has a shared love of something and a hatred for something else.
Well, you should love the show because the opening theme song is so emo. Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care. I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me.
That's country.
Emo. No, it's emo.
No, country's not
emo. It is emo.
I said it earlier. It's in the book.
Okay. No. It's canon that it's emo.
Okay.
It's canon.
Fine.
It's canon. See, listen.
Yeah, we need our own nurse.
This is official. Ready?
What?
That means
is that dadgummit.
Yep.
I wish I would have thought of that, or I would have put it in canon.
Yep. Should have double tapped the table.
That used to be on all the Asher Roth songs.
What?
The cannon.
Oh, dadgummit. Their plan of we'll make a movie to get everybody to shut up kind of backfired because it's kind of like comes in waves of the fan outcry of, hey, we need this back, and then everybody gets exhausted of wanting that, and then we have all quiet again, and then it ramps back up. When that movie came out, that's when it ramped back up to where it's see how good this is.
Oh yeah, like
make the show again.
Exactly. And they still left it open in so many places, like I said with Book, because you end the show or you end the movie and you're like, okay, they answered this, but what about this? But this over here, it left so many more questions than it did answers.
So in an unsatisfying kind of way.
Right.
Because sometimes if you leave something unanswered, it can be good, but you mean like just in a way that doesn't make you like it.
In a universe where prostitution is actually...
She's not a prostitute. She's a companion.
She's a companion.
That's what I was going to say.
It's different.
And
it's a character in the show.
Inara.
Bless you.
Thank you. She functions kind of like an emissary diplomat kind of figure. People do pay for her companionship, but the way it's talked about, it's not that, let's get it on bump and grind thing.
It's almost like a status kind of thing, maybe?
It's like a status thing.
It's almost a spiritual nature to it as well.
I mean, cool. She's very, I don't know a good word for it, professional about it, I guess.
Oh.
Imagine a regal gypsy.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty good explanation?
Pretty good description.
Like
regal,
like a
gypsy.
Like a gypsy wearing one of those vests that they have at the Regal Cinemas. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. She has a Regal Cinemas vest.
She has a bucket of popcorn.
It is in the future. She could.
She has a bucket of popcorn in one hand and some watches in the other hand. She's
not mine.
The Regal Gypsy.
Hashtag
arch nemesis of Tampon Man.
Hashtag not my Inara.
Oh man! Now the Regal Gypsy is a canon, like Nerd It Through the Grapevine character.
No, don't you? No.
Yep, it's canon.
You didn't do it at the right pacing, so it doesn't count. I'm so upset right now for so many different things.
Oh boy!
Name some of them.
I want a list.
I couldn't name one single emo band. The one I didn't know was emo turned out to be emo. I've been nothing but wrong tonight. Feeling so in touch with my emotions. Now my book's upside down.
That's a medical condition.
Oh, y'all got to come in here and look at this. He's got the upside down book.
He's got it. He must have some yogurt in his steak too. And from way, way back.
Oh God, I'm so lightheaded.
Captain.
It's not even sweetened.
Are you lightheaded enough to float into space?
Almost.
I'm segueing into Space Jam.
I know, I've seen that. Jerk Space Jam.
That's a segment he'll have to cut out of the show.
Yeah, it was worth it.
You'll see.
It was worth it, even if it's cut out.
I'm going to talk about Space Jam.
Gross.
I'm sorry. No, it's not a futuristic jelly type substance that you put on biscuits. It is a movie that starred Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny in 1996. Yes, the two starring actors, Michael Jordan, the basketball player, and Bugs Bunny, the cartoon rabbit.
But he's a baseball player now.
Thank you. It is a live action / animation movie. So it's got live action in a good portion at the very beginning of it, and then there is a whole segment of just animation in the toon world, and then all of a sudden they fuse together. We get Michael Jordan as a real person, and he is in what was it called? Toonland? Is it Toonland?
This is Looney Toon Land.
It's Looney Toon Land?
Yes.
They could have just called it Toonland.
Yep.
It's a little long. Anyway, and So, yes, the director was Joe Pytka.
Legend.
Yeah. Do you know him? Really?
Well, he made Space Jam.
Well,
so.
he did make Space Jam. The only other movie he made was called Let It Ride. I don't know. It's about somebody that had. I knew there was more. I was waiting for it.
The last part was Seinfeld.
Yeah, it was. The other movie he made was called Let It Ride, and apparently it's about a gambler that was always real bad, and then one day he's real good all the time, and that's all I got out of reading the synopsis of that movie. So Space Jam was his hit, but he mainly was a music video director. He did a lot of work for Michael Jackson because he did the music videos for The Way You Make Me Feel, Dirty Diana, and Heal the World, and he won some awards for those, and he did a lot of other like commercials and things too, but his film was not his forte at all. But the movie Space Jam in 1996, it opened up #1 in the U.S. box office. It made $230 million worldwide for a live-action / animation movie. Absolutely ridiculous, because Who Framed Roger Rabbit is the other one that's kind of popular from before. Not sure if all of you have seen.
Such a good movie.
It was a great movie. I really liked it a lot. And actually, the supervising animator for Space Jam contacted the director of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and he basically asked, like, hey, how do we do this? Like, what's the best way to do this? We want to. We just have no idea how to do it. And the quote from the director for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he said, "Don't do it. It nearly killed me." So I think it's safe to say that making these types of movies is very difficult, like very, very difficult, working with animators and live action, and the live action people, like Michael Jordan being in a green screen room, not being able to see anything he's interacting with, but you have these like people in suits like that are trying to act at the same height as all these cartoon characters so he can still interact with them by looking them in the eye. And it looked very difficult. I mean, props to Michael Jordan, the basketball player, for being able to even act, in a semi-decent manner. Like, I love the movie.
I mean, I feel like his acting was almost as good as Shaq in Kazam.
Almost.
Wow. I mean, that's like the most
but
epic
nowhere
acting
near
ever.
as good as Charles Barkley in Space Jam.
We're getting the Charles.
Thank you. I love you.
Oh yeah, of course I'm going to talk about Charles. The movie takes place between Michael Jordan's retirements in basketball. So he retired from basketball in '93, and then played baseball. Like, he was a minor league baseball team, the Barons, and he wasn't very good at all. And the movie actually makes fun of him not being good at baseball as well. In it, he's up to the plate, and the catcher behind him is just a really big Jordan fan, because in this movie, he is the Michael Jordan we know, like
Playing himself.
Yeah, he is. This is in our
Maybe
world.
that's why he was such a good actor.
Maybe it was. He didn't have to play anybody. He was just MJ. But the catcher like tells him what pitch is coming so he can get a hit, and he still strikes out. I was like, "Sorry, man. I tried to help you out." But so the synopsis of the movie is. This is my synopsis. The Looney Tunes are going to be enslaved by aliens, so they need Michael Jordan to come help them win a basketball game.
And that's where your notes ended.
Yeah. If you've not been born in the last 30 years, you might not have seen Space Jam. So that right there, that one sentence should be enough to really hook you into it.
So, based on the synopsis, it's basically an allegory about the Civil War and the end of slavery.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Via basketball.
100%.
Michael
Okay.
Jordan is Harriet Tubman, and the slam dunk at the end is finally making it to the North.
Was the baseball team the Underground Railroad?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
we got it.
Want to make sure I was tracking.
That went down some hallways that Marcus and I weren't following you guys. We got lost in a couple rooms back.
I'll light a
It's
candle.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Light my way. Anyway, also starring Bill Murray in the movie. He originally was only supposed to be in this golf course scene. Just he had a funny couple little moments. It's like a buddy of Jordan's. But then he saw, like, while they were filming Jordan, like with the green screen and the actors like in the suits and doing all this weird stuff, and Bill was like, okay, y'all got to get me into Toon World. Like, I have to be in it more now. And they said, okay. So the only reason that Bill Murray's in the scene at the end, like on the basketball court, is because he himself was like, no, I got to be in this. Even more.
He told us about that in the movie. He said, oh, I'm friendly with the producers. So, like, how'd you get here?
He did.
He did.
That's wonderful.
I never realized that.
Yeah.
So maybe Bill Murray was.
I thought it was just like a fourth wall break, but it was a fourth wall break in reality as well.
So Bill Murray was Robert E. Lee.
No, it's off the rails now. Your train is crashed.
We set fire to that house.
I'm out of here. See y'all.
Austin.
Wow.
Can you name the 5 other basketball players? There were many others, but the 5 basketball players that got their talent taken by the Monstars?
Muggsy Bogues.
Yes.
Charles Barkley.
Yes.
I
I know you'll get one other one at least.
No, it's Ewing.
Yep.
Ewing. What's his?
I'll give it to you. Patrick Ewing.
I
Yes.
knew it.
You got it. The other 2 you may not be able to remember.
Nope. Tall dude. Can't.
Two tall dudes.
Two.
Yeah, it was Sean Bradley and Larry Johnson. Like they're not. If you've loved basketball for a long time, those names are people. But if you don't care about basketball, those names aren't people to you. Mm-hmm. But Charles Barkley would be. I mean, everybody knows Charles. But the aliens, the boss, his name was Swackhammer. So these aliens are trying to kidnap the Looney Tunes to put them into their theme park as like freaks or whatever they are, because they're aliens and they see these tunes and they're like, hey, they're funny guys. We can make money off of them. And Swaghammer is played by Danny DeVito.
Yes.
And he kills it, as he always does in every role, because he can play a nasty man or anything really well.
He's
great.
He really is great.
The penguin was
Yes.
awful, and
Just
then
grotesque.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like his character in that, Frank, is just
I want to be pure.
it's amazing. Like he just does a wonderful job. And actually, the character of Swackhammer, he originally was supposed to be a live action actor. So that could have been Danny DeVito as Danny DeVito playing that character, but towards the end, the last days of development is when they decided, no, we need to make him animated. So that I thought that was pretty interesting. But the other little aliens in it that are the Monstars, they make up the basketball team that plays against the Looney Tunes, and Michael Jordan, the basketball player from our world. Their names are Pound, Blanco, Bang, Bupkis, and Knot. And I really like every single one of their names.
Bupkis.
And when they're real little, see, what happens is they're real tiny aliens, and they're real cute, and they can't do much. And then they steal the talents from those 5 basketball players I named earlier, so that way they can beat the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan in a game of basketball, so the Looney Tunes aren't enslaved.
Just like the Confederacy.
But because Michael was retired at that point, they were not aware that one of the greatest of all time wasn't captured in the talent pool. So they were shocked when he showed up. Mm-hmm. They said,
Who's this guy?
That's exactly what they said, and it sounds just like that, and you killed it.
thank you.
There were 18 different studios working on that film. 18 different ones, between London, Canada, and the U.S., 18 different studios. And it took 19 months to make, which is not very long considering it's both a film that's being shot physically and a film that's being made animated and being squished together into one thing. It's a crazy short amount of time for them to come out with a product of that quality for the time. We'll just say for the time.
It paid
was
off
very
for
quality.
them.
It really did. The stills from all the shots of the animated parts of it were lined down the hallways of their main studio, every still shot from it, because each studio was, they were assigned so many shots of the film. They couldn't, not every studio was working on every shot. So as shots would be completed, they would go through there and mark them with a red marker, on these physical still images along the walls of the thing, to say okay, this one's done, this one's done, this one's done, which is really cool as well, because that could easily be done now with how quick computers are. We had computers then, but they were nothing compared to what they are now.
Crap. Absolute crap.
Oh yeah, awful.
The technology that LeBron has at his disposal.
Well, we're getting there. That's at the very end. We're getting to LeBron at the very end. Yeah, a little teaser. Thank you for that. The basketball arena that they played the big game in when the Looney Tunes and the Monstars played basketball with Michael Jordan, the basketball player from Our World. The arena that they played in had to be revised 94 different times because every time they would make a change to it to where they think like, okay, now we've got it. One of the characters, because they had like 100 different animated characters in it. And they've of all different like colors of like fur, and like you've got something like the brightness of a Tweety bird, or like the Tasmanian devils, like brown fur, because they couldn't have a brown like wooden court because Taz would like interfere too much with that. And then they couldn't have too bright like of the yellow lights or whatever, because then Tweety's gonna like kind of interfere with that. So they had to go through all these different ways of making it perfect for all of these characters to exist on the court at the same time. Very impressive for that.
That's nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. Lola Bunny, this was her first appearance ever. And she awoke a lot of probably furries, I think, at that time. And even though I'm not attracted to the furry realm, and you know I'm not into that society. Lola Bunny, when I was a kid, she was up there with the hottest people that I ever saw, and she was a bunny.
Doll.
I mean, of rabbits, I think I'm more of a Jessica Rabbit fan.
Well, yeah, but
Though, I mean, Lola Bunny's fine too.
But Lola's better, man.
I mean, you're allowed your opinion.
She made, but it's the right one. I should be allowed it. She put Bugs in his place.
She did.
I don't know, man.
She did. He's all being smooth and stuff, and she shuts him right down and walks out of the stadium.
As a good girlfriend should when your man's being stupid.
Yeah, she's great. Anyway, yeah, so Lola was a strange part of my life during that part, because I was like genuinely attracted to this like bunny cartoon on TV, and that's what the animators did on purpose. They're like, we got to make a sexy cartoon bunny. Like, we've got a Michael Jordan, you know, the basketball player from Our World. He's there, but he just doesn't do it for me.
Can you imagine the meeting when the guy's like, okay, now I want to introduce a new character. We're gonna call her Lola Bunny, right?
She's gonna be super.
She's got to be.
Oh, she's gonna be so hot.
She's got to be so hot, man.
She's gonna be so hot.
Gonna have legs for days, and she's gonna be all like, "Hey."
We have to give her like this mom-like quality with how sassy she is, but that we got to make her thick. Oh, the Disney method.
Dumps like a truck.
Moving on from Lola, the soundtrack of this movie
Amazing.
went platinum. It went 6 times platinum. Like 6 times this thing went platinum. It was amazing. I have it on vinyl, and
it's beautiful.
Oh, I used to have it on cassette. I would lay in my bed as a kid and just listen to that. Like as I went to sleep every single night, I would listen to the Space Jam soundtrack. And like R. Kelly, that's where he got super popular.
That I Believe I Can Fly. Yeah, for sure. And
Isn't that like the only song in that movie? Because that's the only one I remember.
I didn't even write them all down because I'm like, you guys know all of them, so I don't even have to tell you.
It's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. All right.
Okay.
See?
But was that actually in the movie, or was that just in the soundtrack?
No, that was at the very end of the movie.
That was at the end of the movie.
Very end of the movie. Yep.
That's actually probably the best one on there.
Yeah,
There's so many good
that
ones,
was
though.
That was the cover by Seal.
Yeah.
So if you get the chance, listen to the Space Jam soundtrack. I don't care if it's before or after you watch the movie. Just do it. And for the future part of this whole situation, there was supposed to be a sequel for it in like 97 or something. But Jordan was like, no, I don't want to do that. I guess he was tired of being Michael Jordan, the basketball player from Our World, playing with a bunch of cartoons.
Yeah.
But LeBron James recently said yes. Recently, as in like the past, I don't know, what was that, like 4 or 5 years ago? I don't know.
Too long
ago. But anyway, it's coming out July 16th of this year, 2021. Yeah. And it's called Space Jam: A New Legacy. I don't know about the second part, considering it's a movie that takes basketball players, like Michael Jordan, the basketball player from our world, and then they play against all these cartoon characters. A name like A New Legacy seems a little too real, I guess. I don't know.
No, I think it's a new car. Actually, they get at the very end of the tournament, and that's what the whole thing is. It's a Subaru. It's a brand new Subaru. That's their end game for this, and he's got to be in the cartoon world, just fighting it out with this alien race, to see who can win this game show on their planet for this new Subaru Legacy.
Yep. A New Legacy, it makes me think that they're gonna probably have like Bugs and Lola have a kid.
Oh, that's my dream.
That's my thought is that's what's gonna happen. It'd be great if Jordan showed up at some point.
Oh, he has to. Come on.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He might. He's not doing much anymore.
Does he like LeBron?
I would think so.
Yeah.
They're both the two greatest basketball players to ever play the game. But that's a story for another time.
Thanks, Dean.
But this time, we all shared stories, and they were really good. Tiny's yawning. We got to go. Thank you for listening to us. We'll be back next Monday, and you can keep up with us on Twitter at Nerd Grapevine, and you can do the same on Instagram. And there we post little snippets of the new episode coming out, so you get a little hint of kind of where we're leaning on that one.
Just a whiff.
Just a whiff. Just a little sniff. And... man, we kind of blaze through those now, right? I mean, I'm dragging it out now with this little section that I'm saying.
You actually spit it out really well.
I did. Thank you.
Didn't get any of it on you or anything.
None. I mean, my beard is clean. It's
That's
very
the Holy
clean.
Spirit. I don't spit
it's
it.
Perfect. Austin, when life gives you grapes,
throw them at the townsfolk. I don't know. I wanted to be an emperor throwing grapes. I'm the emperor of grapes. I'm the grape emperor from the grape empire. And I throw these grapes at you, sir.
Peasants.
That's what life gave me.